Hello folks, it's Sandy in Talk of Thailand, and speaking to you from Pattaya in Thailand, and at a very dark and dismal time for us here because we're under a lockdown by any other name, with consequences from the COVID pandemic, and it's not looking good here at the moment, and I don't know when it will look good again, but that's not the point of today's video anyway. Today's video is to answer some of the questions I've been getting, and these are personal questions I've been getting actually, about my relationship with my wife, and my relationship with my daughter, and various aspects of my marriage, and okay, I think I need to address them, and I'll cover the questions as best as I can. So, if you're interested in finding out what the questions have been, and you'd like to know my answers, then please stay watching, and I'll let you know all. Okay, so the questions that I've been asked is, the first one: what is it like being married to a Thai lady? Well, let me just tell you that this is my second Thai wife, and after I got estranged from my first Thai wife, I had no real intention of marrying again. I thought, that's it, I'm going to stay single for the rest of the time. The problem that ended my first marriage was something that I saw coming for some time actually, in that we had got married and we lived in the UK and we opened a Thai restaurant, but as retirement approached, I had no intention of spending the rest of my life in the UK. I don't like the cold, I don't like the expense of the place, I don't even like the atmosphere of the country now, to be truthful. So I didn't want to stay there. But unfortunately, the other side of the coin, my wife, she absolutely wanted to stay in the UK and had no intention of ever returning to Thailand, except for maybe holidays. So that was going to be a problem, and as we got nearer and nearer to the retirement, things started breaking down more and more, and consequently, to cut a long story short, I ended up in divorce. So the retirement came, and I settled down out here, and I had, as I say, I had no real intention of getting married again, but I don't honestly know if I was being genuine with myself or not, because I'm not the sort of guy that likes to live alone actually. I like to have company, and I like to have somebody to talk to, and I like the presence of somebody else around. And I met my wife now. Let me just go back. My previous wife was 11 years my junior, and my new wife, M. Her Thai nickname's Am, but real name's Kanaya. She is 40 years old and I'm 72 years old. So there's quite a bit of age difference there. But I met Am in Pattaya, and we got along quite well, and I was still travelling back and forward. I was working in Africa at the time, in Nigeria, and I was travelling back and forward, and I used to look forward to getting back and chatting with her and seeing her, and then things developed. Now, let me just say, I'm not stupid, you know. Some people may think I am, but I'm not that stupid. It wasn't my boyish good looks or my worldly charm or my physique and my six-pack that attracted her. I'm quite sure it was the possibility of upgrading her status in life, and I have no objection to that, and I'm realistic about it. So what? It's that's what I could offer her, and it was an offer to her. And she offered me a lot more, actually, even more than I actually wanted, because she came to my last job was a major oil rig overhaul in Rotterdam in Holland, and she came there for about 5 or 6 weeks, I think, while I was working there, and then she'd come back to Thailand while the main project carried on until I finished that project. And she was only back at 2 or 3 weeks, or a short time anyway, and she sent me this a text message with something like, and a picture of some contraption that I didn't really register, to be truthful. And it was one of these blue pregnancy test kit things. And when I asked her what it was, she said, "Well, I'm pregnant." Oh my God, that's really not something. That is not something I'd planned for my retirement. It's not something I actually wanted for my retirement, but hey, too late. The damage was done, and as much my responsibility as her responsibility. I got a feeling I might have been led into it a bit, but she was giving me something that she thought I might like, and as it transpires, it's more than like. I love my little girl more than life itself, I'll tell you that for sure. She's a wonderful little girl, my Sandra, and it's the best thing that could have happened to me in my retirement. It keeps me active, it keeps me thinking, it keeps me moving, it keeps me saying, "Shut up, go away, leave me alone." But thankfully she never does. She's back within 5 minutes. So it was a great thing, and I'm much appreciative to my wife for giving me such a beautiful daughter. So as far as the marriage is concerned, yes. As I just stated, it wasn't the physical attractions, but I've got to say I would never rush into any marriage or permanent relationship without feeling fairly confident that it had a good possibility of survival. And I got on well with them. I found her to be honest and sincere, and she seemed to care about me a lot, and she seemed to worry about me a lot at times, particularly when I was working in Africa. And I thought, when I came back, she actually said to me, she said, "Well," and she was quite heavily pregnant when I finished that job and I came back from Rotterdam. And she said to me, "Are we going to get married?" And I said, no, I won't get married again. That's a next life thing, you know. And I could see the disappointment in her face. But as time progressed, then I mellowed, and I thought, well, for the sake of my daughter and all the rest of it, then I really should do the decent thing and get married. So we married. And as our honeymoon, although my daughter was born by the time we got the opportunity, and she was coming up for nearly a year old, we took a 5-week break and went touring around UK, mainly Scotland, but even down as far as Portsmouth and Devonport. And it was a very good honeymoon break-in, and something that neither myself nor Em will ever forget. I'm quite sure of that. So how did I find being married to her? Well, you know, that's a very hard question to answer, to be truthful, because I'm used to Thai people. I've been here, I've been in Thailand for 30 years nearly, and I know Thai people, I know the culture, I know their nature, I know Thai ladies, I know what they like, I know what they appreciate, and I know, I don't like to use the word control, but I do know how to control and guide them along with the various aspects that we as foreigners, Westerners, expect or want our lives to be like. And I found that she's very willing to learn that, and she's learned it very well. And I know she needs guidance from time to time, and all in all, it's worked out very good. And I'm a very, very lucky man, and I thank God for that. You know, I remember going to, when I was married to before I got married to my first wife, when I was working out here in the 90s, I remember going to some of these golf association dinners here, maybe 300 or 400 people, maybe more, at some of these golf dinners we used to go to. Big elaborate affairs, and nice meals, entertainment, booze, all the rest of it. And there was a lot of silly old gits like me at these do's. And you know, they all had some nice eye candy on their arms. They were the wives of living relatives, living girlfriends, or whatever the relationships were. But you didn't see any of the old guys with any of the old women, or very few anyway. None that stood out, but it wouldn't stand out with the sort of eye candy that was there, and it looked very nice and good for them. They were enjoying the latter years of their life, and they were doing it in style, and I don't blame them. I'm doing the same, and I'm enjoying the latter years of my life as well. So, being married to a Thai woman, I find it very, very good for me, but it takes some experience and some consideration before you go down that road, I'd say to anybody. But we'll come back to that shortly. So I just covered, the next question was, what about the age differences? Well, actually I've taken some stick on this YouTube channel already about the age differences between me and my wife, and it's these sad comments go over my head actually, and I don't really let them get to me at all. But I would say that age in Thailand is not the same aspect as it might be in the UK or other Western countries, in that there's a lot of older Thai men have younger wives, and young Thai ladies can quite expect to get involved with older Thai men. In fact, there is stories, there is actual aspects of Thai men here in Thailand having several wives. They've got the main wife, and then they've got what they call the Mia Noi, which is a small wife, and then they might have a Mia Nit Noi, and that's a very small wife, and the list goes on. And these will all be in different age groups, of course, and it's I wouldn't say everybody's happy about that aspect, but it's known to happen, and it's socially accepted here now in Thailand for sure, although it wouldn't be in other countries, I'm sure of that. So as far as the age differences is concerned, I know that is quite a bit younger than me, and I hope, for God's sake, that she's going to survive me and be around to bring our daughter up, and I'll leave her what facilities I can to be able to do that satisfactorily. So if she's happy with the arrangement, which I know she is, then good for me and good for her and good for my daughter. That's the way it is. Now the next question, can you trust Thai women? Oh, now then, that can open up a whole kettle of worms, I would say. Is that the right term? Anyway, it can open a lot of questions, because can you trust Thai women? Can you trust any women? Yes, you can. You can trust, I would go as far as to say, most women. But I'm not just mentioning Thai women, I'm talking about women in any country of the world. You know, Thai women are no different to any other women in the world. They've got a slightly different cultural aspect, they'll have a different upbringing, but they're still people at heart, and they've still got the same desires and aspirations as have most women in the world. And I think the basic ones are to move out of poverty, And here in Thailand, it's to provide for any children they have, and certainly to provide for any relatives they had, their parents, etc. There's no real social care system here in Thailand, and it's very reliant on children supporting their adults, their mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, etc., and helping them along. And it's most Thai women are very dedicated in that aspect, and that is why they take up some of the positions which we'll come to in maybe in this video or another video. But that is their main objective in life, and I can understand that. So can I trust Thai women? The same as I'd say to anyone, anywhere. If you don't trust someone, don't marry them, because that's stupidity. I'm sure if she didn't trust me, she would never have married me. I think there's got to be mutual respect, and to get mutual respect, you've got to have mutual confidence, and you've got to trust each other. So, yes, I trust my wife, and I trust a lot of Thai women. I know a lot of Thai women. I respect a lot of Thai women. I know some very bad Thai women, and I know some nasty Thai women, and I know some very devious and horrible Thai women that I wouldn't go near under any circumstances. But that's the way I'll leave that. Do they make good wives? That's a good question, actually, because why shouldn't they make good wives? In actual fact, I believe in some aspects they make better wives than most Western ladies make. For instance, they're brought up in a culture where they've got to take care of the men folk in their house. They've got to take care of their fathers, their brothers, or whatever. And that, obviously, when they get married, that comes across to looking after their husband. And the taking care aspect is a big aspect of what they accept as their responsibility. And they do it very, very well. And I've had extremes, like I'll go back to my previous wife, when she used to get up when I was working here, and she'd get up and she'd run my shower till it was warm, and she'd put all my shaving kit out, my toothbrush with toothpaste on it, and then when I was in showering, she'd put all my clothes out on the bed ready for me to get dressed when I come out the shower. I'd go downstairs and my breakfast would be on the table, and then she'd be out in the car running the engine, getting the air conditioning on to cool the car down, ready for me to drive to work. And she took great pride in making sure that I went out the door as smart as I could be, because I was her representative when I got to the office, as she often told me. So that was the way she dealt it. Em is also, she takes care of me very, very well also, not in the same fashion, in slightly different fashion, different part of the country, but yes, she looks after me very well, and it's very nice to have. So yes, they make very, very good wives. I would say that for sure. Why do so many mixed marriages fail? Oh, now then. In Thailand, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. It seems a lot of guys that come out here, you know, they're like kids in candy shops, and they get out here, and there's a lot of girls in these bars. Some of them very, very beautiful girls, very attractive, got all the right equipment, right, nice shaped bodies, got everything a man could physically want from a woman. But that's only the physical side, but there's more to a marriage than just the physical side. You've got to be mentally communicative as well, and be understanding each other. Now, how can you understand each other if your wife can't speak your home language, i.e. in my case English, and I can speak Thai. Well, there's an absolute massive obstacle right from day one. Yes, they can communicate for a 2-week holiday. Sorry about this, in it, they can communicate for a 2 or 3 week holiday, no problem, to sign language or whatever. And I will say that the ladies try hard to learn the very basics in languages when they're with a guy, and that gets them through the initial periods. But for a long-term relationship, you've got to get a bit more serious. And I've been lucky in that when I worked here, I actually learned the basics of Thai, and I can speak Thai fairly well. I'm not 100% fluent. I never will be, I don't think, but I get by and I can make myself known, and we can talk and we can converse, and I know what's being said, etc. So that's an important part. So marriages fail for that reason, and the other reason I think they fail is because people don't take the time to get to know each other. They think this is good. The girl sees a guy, he's got money, he's got a ticket to her future, so she jumps at the chance. He sees this beautiful bit of stuff that's willing to leave Thailand for him, and wow, he's made up too. But one doesn't know the other. That's the bottom line of it. And when they get to know each other, they might not like what they see. And that's why so many of the mixed marriages fail. Does a Thai marriage apply in other countries? Well, the short answer is yes, it does. It's a legal marriage if you go through the proper legal marriage. But there's 2 marriages here in Thailand, actually. There's an informal one that can be done in the village that I've never done, but it can be done in the village. And but there's a formal one where you get all the necessary proper marriage papers, etc. And that one is legally binding, and it's accepted in all other countries as far as I know. It's certainly accepted in the UK. So yes, it applies in other countries. Divorcing in Thailand. Well, I've had a couple of vloggers lately talking about their marriage attempts here in Thailand, and one of them only got married for 9 days and then he got divorced. And the divorce took him 15 minutes actually. Unbelievably quick. And I think it can be that quick as long as there's no children involved and there's no major assets involved, which in his particular case there wasn't. But obviously there's got to be some agreement about the assets that comes from the marriage and how it's going to be distributed or whatever. And as long as these are agreed on before you go in for the divorce, then I believe it can happen relatively quickly. And once again, if you get divorced here in Thailand, that is also legal once you go back to whatever country you come from. Finally in this one, I've come to the nationality of children, which is important to a lot of people. When I was married to my first wife, I had a son by her, Alexander, the absolute wonderful boy. I'm very proud of him. He's currently studying politics at Bristol University in England, and a very clever lad. He was born in 1999, and at that time he could not get a British passport or British nationality unless I married his mother. Well, I couldn't do that because I was still married to my previous English wife. So we went for a while where we weren't officially married, and when my divorce came through, we got married at a registry office, and consequently Alexander got his British passport. And I expected that to be the same for Sandra here actually, because as I say, we chose to have our delayed honeymoon in the UK, and we went as a family. And I thought, well, I looked into getting her a UK passport, and the regulations had changed. And as long as I was named as a father on the birth certificate, she was entitled to be a British citizen. So consequently now she's got dual nationality. She's got a Thai passport and a British passport. So good for her. And as it turns out, I need to renew my passport in the next few weeks, and I need to renew Sandra's as well, because she's just turned 5, and it's a 5-year passport she's got, so I'll have to renew hers as well. So that's the answer to the basic questions I've got on being married to a Thai lady. If you've got any questions, if you know areas that I could have covered better, have you got aspects that you think I should have covered, then please tell me, and I'll try to cover them in the future. And I'll try not to have an itchy nose next time. I think it's a fan that's got blowing air in my face. And that's it. So thank you for watching my video, and take care. I hope you're not involved in this lockdown here in Thailand, but if you do, stay safe. And if you're involved in pandemic situations anywhere in the world, stay safe. Thank you for watching again. Bye.